Hello, Cringe Crew Music Podcast, series number 2, doing the entire Radiohead discography. This episode, we are talking about their 2011 release, The King of Limbs. As I hinted last episode, this one's going to be a little weird, and I think it's better for you guys if I don't tell you anything about this one. Not that I think I really have, but in the past with the other albums, but I think that this one specifically is significantly weirder than anything else we've heard up to this point. The only thing I'm going to tell you about this is that this album is named after a really old tree in some forest in England somewhere. I don't know exactly how old the tree is, but it's considered ancient, and so that's interesting. I'll throw up a picture of what the tree looks like. This is a cue for me editing this. Hello, please put up a picture of the old ash tree. Thank you. Okay. Anyway, yeah, let's just get right into it. So, track number 1, Bloom.
So you know how like you see those videos that come across on Facebook or YouTube every once in a while of a dude who's just got a sampling machine and he just kind of takes street noises and makes music with it?
Yeah.
That's what this was. Like there were very few like instruments in it. I mean, there was a snare drum that was pretty constant through the whole thing, and I feel like I heard 3 notes total from a violin. And beyond that, everything just felt like street noise. It was really cool, like for this piece to be put together. But it was very strange to listen to because everything felt disjointed and on a different tempo. Tom's voice felt kind of transient, like it was bigger than all of the just errant sounds that were thrown in. I didn't dislike it. It was just kind of unique.
Yeah, this is definitely different. Radiohead's always been kind of avant-garde, experimental, but this is, I'd say, pushing it more than they usually do with that kind of sound. It definitely, no, I don't know if I'd necessarily call it noise-ish, but it definitely has that kind of feel with the almost disjointed sounds or noises, I guess, instead of like actual like instrumental sounds. Even though you can hear the like Ted said, you can hear the snares and some of the other instruments, but overall it has that like more EDM kind of like texture, I guess you could say. I liked it though. This is I'll give myself an additional one just because it's the first one of the track. I don't think Tom said more than a single vowel sound in the entire goddamn song. Okay. I liked it though. I liked it.
Yeah, very ethereal, I'd say. Has some, I guess, a certain like dreamlike quality to it, I suppose. Yeah, it's kind of chill, I guess. Maybe I like this one a lot. Alrighty, track number 2, A Morning, Mr. Magpie.
So this one just felt like a whole lot of loops, a whole lot of really simple rhythms, just kind of played back to back. Lyrics were pretty simple. It was pretty straightforward. It just kind of was slow, repetitive, nothing super special about it, I guess.
Yeah, I was gonna say this one made a lot more usage of drum loops and just sample looping in general. Which, I said it last song. They've loved to experiment, and they seems like they're definitely experimenting more so even with this album. This one's very, I'm very, I don't know, interested by these songs. I guess they're very different from what we've heard up till now. Like Mike said, this is very, very different. I think I did see that this song specifically had been or was a recast of an old live acoustic ballad. This just kind of proves or continues to layer onto my theory that Radiohead hasn't actually released or come up with anything since like 2002, and that it's just they're just retooling everything they've done since then. But it's very interesting. I guess I could say that.
I think even though this one's kind of simple and maybe a little bit repetitive, I really like this one. I like this one a lot, actually. Yeah, I don't remember a lot of this album. It's mostly like the first 3 songs I think on this, and then after that, like I just don't even remember. But I remember the like first 3 tracks being like pretty decent, and yeah, this one is in fact all right, I think. All right, number 3, Little by Little.
So I kind of got the impression that this song was "I'm not crazy, you're crazy," and it seems like Tom is kind of casting judgment on people with any sort of normalcy. So, like particularly in the bridge, he's like, "Obligations, complications, routines, and schedules that'll kill you." Right? Like that's the sentiment is like, "Fuck you for living a normal life. I'm the normal one," and it just feels like he's just dealing with his own fucking insanity. Uh, Also, the song was only 2 syllables. Well, okay, I should rephrase. He made idiot, which is 3 syllables, into 1 syllable, and then he made complications a 14-second word. Um, so yeah, this one kind of drove me insane.
Yeah, I'm gonna break my rule. Tom has. Does this man have a tongue, like a functioning tongue? Because I don't know if he can form syllables properly sometimes. Like, I, Tom's voice is the single thing holding me back from enjoying certain aspects of their music. Because I love their instrumentation I love it. I love it. This is very out of the norm, I guess, even for what was being released at the time. Like, I don't even know how to describe this honestly, other than just commenting on Tom's fucking voice, because everything else is just kind of not in a bad way. It's disjointed, but in a very. It's almost hard to describe the way that they kind of composed this album, I guess. But I did like this. I did like this one minus Tom, of course.
Yeah, there were definitely I don't want to say some. It was most of the song where I was struggling to understand what he was talking about, and if I weren't looking at the lyrics pulled up in front of me, I had no idea what he said.
I still couldn't do it. He was talking, and I was like, "What part of the song are we on?
Yeah.
I can't tell what you're saying."
Yeah, I was trying to figure it out. I'm like looking, and I'm like, we're at the end. What?
Yeah, admittedly, in the first verse, I was wondering if I had clicked on the wrong song to look up the lyrics because I genuinely couldn't follow it. Like there was no path there whatsoever.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
But yeah, songs all right otherwise, I guess. Ooh, what are we on? Number 4, Feral.
I mean, this just screams to me that like Tom bought a new sampler and loop pedal. Like, and he just made an entire album to show everybody he got new toys. As a filler track, like there's really nothing going on in this one. It was fine for a filler track. I just like we're 4 songs in and it's just I have a loop pedal. Look at it. I got one. Like that's it.
I'm not. I don't want to sound like a broken record, because this also makes very heavy use of loops, of samples. I, I don't really think Tom meant for himself to be understand on this track. This one very felt like he was trying to use his voice, and obviously you can use your voice as the instrument. I mean, it might as well be considered that. It felt like he was almost trying to. He wanted to make a sound that he could sample almost more so. I very much agree with Ted. It sounds like they got a brand new sampling equipment and they thought they really, really needed to make a whole album out of it. But I mean, I still enjoyed it. It was still like the textures. It's so hard to like kind of fully describe like how like the texturing kind of feels almost, because it is almost to me like something that is different for each person. But like for me, the texture to the music almost is, I don't know how to put it, just very addicting kind of, I guess.
Yeah. This one is something. Now that you mention it, so by this point, Tom has released one solo album where he was kind of dabbling with electronic stuff, and he wouldn't release a second one until 3 years after this. So him dabbling with the electronic stuff, basically the whole album just being him like, hey guys, check out my cool new sampler I got, that almost kind of checks out.
Oh man.
Lol.
Anyway, track number 5, Lotus Flower.
So this one sounded much more organized than the past few. Still some of the same loops, but I honestly thought the lyrics and the instrumentation was really good. Everything felt a whole lot better. Like they just kind of took all of the good parts of the last 3 and made them, or last 4 and made them one song. This song was really annoying to listen to with headphones though, because there was one loop that was some dude fucking clapping, and it happened like back into my left hand side. It wasn't in any sort of rhythm, and you could hear the fleshy slaps of them being hands clapping. It felt really gross every time I heard it. I also want to give a special shout out to the dude who wrote the genius annotation when Tom said a bird that's flown into my room. The annotation was burgers float into my room, and I want to give that guy some credit.
God damn it. Musically, this one definitely was more, at least coherent, a lot less of the kind of disjointed sampling and looping. They were still there, they definitely still had the looping, but it was a little bit easier to follow, I guess you could say. Less so about Tom's lyrics, maybe, because I think he is on a mission to make the most incomprehensible album of his entire career. I don't know if I have fully understood a single word off of this album yet. Maybe it's just me, but fuck, god damn it, Tom. I'll say that I did enjoy this one probably more than the last couple because it was a little bit more coherent, but very interesting.
So the music video for this song spawned a meme because of the way that Tom dances in the video. So the thing was to just take random songs and pair it with the goofy ass way that Tom is dancing in the video, and it's pretty great. It's good.
Seen that? I saw that. Yeah.
All right. We're actually pretty close to the end already. This is a really short album. It's like barely 40 minutes long. So track number 6, Codex.
So the instruments on this one were very different than everything else. There had been a lot of like percussive loops and stuff, but then in this one it was just kind of like one big bold piano, and that was kind of it. I didn't dislike it. I thought it was fine, but it felt like it dragged on a little long, and it also felt out of place with the rest of the album. Like I feel like if Radiohead could put together just an album full of slow ballads, that all of them would be very good. But the part that's like off-putting is just that they get thrown into albums like this, which to this point have been very like high-paced, upbeat, like faster rhythmic songs. It just kind of sat in a weird spot.
Yeah, this almost felt like this was like recorded for like a movie or something and then thrown on this album kind of at the last second. It just doesn't really mesh with what we had just heard. I mean, I guess the last song was a little bit more coherent than the one before it, but I mean, this is sort of a leap and jumps of a difference between the last one and this one. I mean, it's much more orchestral, much more slow, the piano, this one has much more of the like very deliberate sound that I guess I've heard from Radiohead before, but they're just interesting to hear it on this album so far, I guess.
Yeah, this song was fine. I didn't dislike it, but it definitely feels out of place with everything else up to this point. I don't know that Radiohead has done like it. Maybe it does seem like they've done like slower ballads like this with every album. There's usually at least one, but it's maybe they could have come up with something that fit, because this doesn't. It's just weird. I don't know. Not a bad song though. It's just kind of out of place.
Mm-hmm.
Alrighty, track number 7, Give Up the Ghost.
So I kind of almost want to take back what I said about the last song based on what we heard in this song. I don't think that the last one feels so out of place with the context of this one. If you get like a two-sided vinyl album, right? Where the first end was like electronic and loopy and upbeat, and then the back end is much more like transient and slower and softer with like more, I guess, fluid instrumentation is probably the best way to put it. Like it's just kind of soft and transient. Um, the lyrics got repetitive, but I think again, like you said a couple songs ago, Conley, that it was more using his voice as the instrument rather than like it being repetitive lyrics.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I didn't mind it, and I think it fit with the context of the last song. But again, I think they'd be better like with a separate album rather than trying to combine it with the framework of the whole of this album.
I think with the added context of this song, I think that it is starting to make a little bit more sense that it does seem like this album almost does have that kind of not necessarily a flow, but it does sort of have that transition, I guess, between the very heavy sample loop driven first, I don't know, 3 or 4 tracks, and then these most recent 3 tracks have been now not night and day. Well, this one is I would say maybe a bit much more of the night and day difference from like the beginning of the album, but I definitely feel now that Tom was going, or Radiohead was going for like the kind of electronic transition, which is I think that they actually, obviously the last one will give the full context of the album, but looking back, I do think that they've done this transition actually pretty well. I think. He is still at this point. I'm not sure how much weight I put behind Radiohead lyrics and just kind of assume that Tom is using his voice almost all of the time, more so for the like instrumental value than the lyrical meaningful context. Because I've stopped trying to make any sense of his lyrics. I think 2 or 3 albums ago.
I don't think a single song on this album so far I've gotten any kind of meaning out of, honestly. And with this track in particular, speaking of like Tom not being able to enunciate, the words that were repeating, the more it went on, the less you could understand what he was saying. It was like all becoming just one singular just noise, like barely even a syllable at all.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually like kind of impressive how much I could not understand what he was saying near the end there.
Yeah, true.
But yeah, that leaves us with the final track, number 8, Separator.
Again, fits with the theme of the last 2 songs. I'm much preferring to call them 2 halves of 2 albums rather than calling this one album, but transient. I really like that fluttery kind of guitar sound. They also filled this whole song with lyrics, which I thought was really cool. But honestly, it just gave me like big stoner song vibes. Like it was just kind of something to chill and listen to, not necessarily like hyper focus into and really dive in. It just kind of was. I liked it as an end of the album.
I'd say this is probably one of the ones I just enjoyed the most. The he definitely has more of the loops back, kind of what you heard in the beginning, but it's much more clear. It's much more not necessarily well thought out, because obviously everything they do is that much, but I'd say more linear, I guess, sort of not super overly layered. I actually did like this one a lot. I like this one a lot as a closer too. And this album is gonna sound really weird for me just in total, but this song I really like.
Yeah, this one's all right. Now that you mention it, this does feel like a very stoner sort of album. Now that you mention it,
Yeah.
yeah, like the ending to this is, even though it's different from what's going on in the first half, I think it's still like pretty solid. It's good. And yeah, I have no idea where I would rate this with everything else. So let me think for a minute. As far as ratings go, I may have to change some things up. So currently I have Pablo Honey at the bottom, but I think I'm going to move Hail to the Thief to the bottom. Ooh, struggling to do that in my thing. And then I I don't know. I don't know if this is so. The bottom two is Pablo Honey and Hail to the Thief for me. Hail to the Thief is now last. I don't know if this goes between Pablo Honey and the Bins or between In Rainbows and the Bins. No idea. I think.
Hmm.
Yeah, I think this is gonna go between Pablo Honey and the Bins for me. So let me set that up really quickly in my little Excel sheet thing.
I know for me, this one's going to go slightly above Pablo Honey. I, I didn't necessarily love this album. I didn't dislike this album. However, it felt like intentional concrete pieces where Pablo Honey was a bunch of genre switching that was kind of disjointed. And I think that's why I'll put King of Limbs above Pablo Honey.
Okay.
I don't think this is a bad album by any stretch of the imagination. It never drew me in. It never hooked me in something as something interesting.
So I think that leaves you, Conley. Where are you thinking for this?
So, 1 second. Let me find my fucking thingy. Discography. There we go. That's what I wanted. So I actually did end up moving mine a little bit from last time. So last time I had.
Yeah, if you scroll up in the podcast chat a little bit, it has everything, so you can edit that if you need to.
Yeah, I was just gonna copy and paste it and edit it.
Yeah.
So like I started with Amnesia, Kid A, OK Computer. I think that my top 4 are gonna stay the same. I think I'm actually going to put Pablo Honey above In Rainbows for me right now, and put King of Limbs just below Pablo Honey as well. So I'll post mine right now.
Okay. Interesting.
I posted mine also, if that makes it easier.
I still had yours saved, and I just edited it. I moved all of ours to like the same spreadsheet that I'm using, so I can.
Okay.
But I can just copy paste to make things easier. All right. Interesting. So, next episode will be the finale for this Radiohead series. We're doing their last album up to this point, which is A Moon-Shaped Pool, that came out in 2016. I can't believe it's been so long since the last Radiohead album. Damn.
Yeah, it has been a while.
I did have one more thing I wanted to mention before we wrapped up. I kind of forgot to mention it at the beginning, but I saw Ghost and Amon Amarth this past week.
Nice.
Monday night. It seems like they're doing some kind of amphitheater tour because all of the dates are at outdoor venues, which surprised me. So they played at USANA Amphitheater here in Salt Lake. I've been to that venue one other time. It's interesting. It's really big outdoor venue with the amphitheater in the middle and then all kinds of like concession stuff kind of surrounding it. They were doing like this VIP tickets where you got access to some kind of lounge where you could see like never before seen like Ghost memorabilia and stuff, but I had no idea where that was, and the tickets were sold out. So that's neat, I guess. So Amon Amarth opened. I've seen them one other time. They put on a pretty good show, but as far as Amon Amarth goes musically, they're just kind of bog standard sort of death metal stuff that's like vaguely about Vikings and stuff. If you're into it, cool. There's some songs of theirs that I do like, but I do think that they're kind of eh. They do put on a good show though. Their drummer kind of sits on this platform that looks like a big Viking helmet, and there's like screens in the eyes that like show different stuff. And the last song that they played, Twilight of the Thunder God, they bring out this like big inflatable serpent that covers both sides of the stage, and they have like these giant Viking statues on either side, which is pretty cool.
Damn.
They have this one song called "Put Your Back into the Oar," where they get everyone to sit down and start rowing.
I was gonna ask if they did that.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Their shows are really good. I will say.
I really don't want to go to that. Just I want to go for the show just for that. For put your back into the. Just for that one song. I want to go.
It's so good. Ghost though I've seen them 4 or 5 times now at this point. Their shows are always just incredible.
Oh yeah.
They have like this big kind of cathedral facade with like this. It seemed like the stained glass on this one was like some kind of screen because they changed it out. So at the beginning, it started out showing like all the different incarnations of Papa, and then for their encore, they switched it to show like various images of like Satan and stuff, which was really cool. The guitarists always like their interactions are always really great because they're doing like some kind of guitar battle or something in between songs. They played a lot of stuff off the new album because they are touring for that. A lot of older stuff as well. A good mix of everything. Their shows are always great. I love seeing Ghost. But as far as that goes, let me see. I think I have my next.
Actually, the one reason why I said yesterday or not yesterday is because I was at the Four Chord Music Festival yesterday, and it was like it's like mostly pop punk kind of stuff. And it was really nice. I got to see Yellow Card. They were supposed to be performing Ocean Avenue in its entirety for this tour, but there was a tornado 2 miles away from the venue, and we had to take shelter for like an hour and a half. So we missed Andrew McMahon in the Wilderness, but we got Taking Back Sunday doing an acoustic set, which was pretty fucking interesting. And then Yellow Card performing like half of Ocean Avenue, which was still pretty cool. It was really fun though.
I
had done that show back in Pittsburgh, like I think it was our junior year, Conley, so like 2016. That festival was in a really cool location, and they do a really good job at like taking care of you while you're in there. So I'm sure that was a fun experience.
It's so nice. It's an AstroTurf baseball field. Like it's so fucking nice. We actually did the VIP tickets because they were so cheap, and like they had a tent that had like really strong fucking like air, like just fans that felt like air conditioners. Your own water. It was really It was a really nice show.
Nice. I was trying to figure out what my next concert is, but it's not for like another 3 weeks or so. Mastodon and Gojira are coming, and Lorna Shore is opening for them.
Oh,
that'll be a hell of a show.
Fucking, I saw them last year. Oh god damn it, I love seeing them so much.
That's 3 really good stage performances too. Like you're gonna have an experience.
Yeah, those are really good.
And then
wait, what was the first one you said? Was it Mastodon?
Yeah.
I saw them in Crossration Fest. They put on a hella good show too.
Oh yeah, it's so good.
Yeah, they all put on good shows. Yeah.
And then after that, I have like a bunch of other shows like every week back to back. But we'll get there. We'll get there. So yeah, I've got nothing else. So if you guys got nothing else, we can wrap up here.
That's it.
All right, that'll do it. We'll catch y'all next time. See ya.